Hello, my name's Elaine Gordon.
And my name's Lucy Harrison, and we just wanted to take a few minutes today to talk to you about a petition that we're launching and why we would really appreciate your support.
So we're asking Birmingham City Council to provide CT scanning facilities for post-mortems. And the reason why we're asking that is because of how our siblings were treated after they were killed.
My brother Peter was killed while he was crossing the Hagley Road West in Birmingham in November 2014. He was killed by a driver that had been doing 93 miles an hour on a 40-mile-an-hour road. The driver fled the scene. He switched seats with his girlfriend, and he originally told the police that it had been his girlfriend who had been driving. Peter had been at a really good point in his life. He was in a happy relationship, he was doing really well at work, he was looking forward to Christmas, which was fast coming up, and his life was just unexpectedly, suddenly and violently ended through absolutely no fault of his own. For everyone who knew and who loved Peter, this was just devastating. It was shocking, it was traumatic, it was impossible to take in, and we experienced a kind of pain that I just can't describe. We miss Peter every day, and I'll always miss Peter. There'll always be a hole where my big brother should have been. After Peter was killed, a post-mortem was performed on his body within 48 hours of his death, and we thought that we would be able to have his body back and be able to start planning his funeral, which was essentially the very last thing that we could do for him, and it was so important to us as a family in terms of our grieving process and being able to say goodbye, but also making sure that Peter was treated with the dignity and the respect that he deserved. However, the days and the weeks went by, and we were told that we wouldn't be able to have his body back until the defendant had decided whether or not he wanted a second post-mortem. This was just like soul destroying for us. We were already suffering, and this just added to it. It felt like my brother's life had been taken, but now every last bit of dignity was being stripped from him too. I kept thinking about him in a morgue on his own in the cold. I just wanted to see him, to be with him, to be able to say goodbye, and I couldn't. And in the end, it took 7 weeks until we could have his funeral. It's something that we'll never recover from, and it's something that was pointless, it was needless, and I would never wish it on any other family.
And my sister Gina, she was killed in December 2014, and I never forget when I got that news to hear that she had been killed, and it just completely broke me. It just broke us as a family, it really did. Gina was such a loving sister, and I literally miss her every day. We would talk constantly, we would meet up, it should be the person that I look up to. And it was while she was on her way to work. She was on her way to the hospital on a Friday morning, and this driver came speeding down the road at 70 miles an hour, and he crashed into her, drove onto her side of the road, and he got out of his car and walked over to her car and looked inside the window, and then he saw that she was dead, and he ran away, and he never found anybody to ask for help. But the police did later catch him, and it's like when we heard, it just was so devastating. And at the time, her car just went up in flames. And so probably about a day or so later, she'd had a post-mortem, which was the standard practice. And so we expected that we would get her back and we would have the funeral, lay her body to rest. But then the police came back to us and told us that the defence wanted to do their own investigation, and they were going to do another post-mortem, which was shocking because I didn't know this happened. and I didn't understand why they would need to have a second post-mortem when they had one, but we were told that this was their right, and this was what was going to happen, and we couldn't stop it. And then they scheduled a date for the post-mortem, and that was cancelled, and then they rearranged it, and it was just about 2 months before we actually got Gina's body back, and we could then have the funeral. But that period of waiting was just one of the darkest times for us as a family. It was difficult enough to have lost Gina so traumatically, but then the waiting and not knowing when we could get her back, that just added even more. It was like adding salt to an open wound already. It was really devastating.
So what we've learned since is that if Birmingham had had CT scanning facilities for post-mortems, our families almost definitely wouldn't have had to endure these awful delays, because when a body's put through the CT scanner and electronic reports created, which can then be shared with the defence, and it just negates the need to retain the body for a prolonged period of time, and it eases the suffering which the grieving family are being put through.
And we know that CT scanning for postmortems, it's not a new concept, and it occurs up and down the country, and we know of at least 3 centres in England that already do this, and they can release loved ones back within 48 hours. So we would never have had to experience this. And so that's why we're doing this petition, and we would really value you signing this. We are going to be meeting with Birmingham City Council to discuss this about a way forward, because though we can't change what happened to our families, we want to change it for other people so that no one else has to experience what we've experienced. So we would really appreciate you signing our petition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we really believe that it's important that Birmingham look at this issue seriously.
And if you need any more information, please feel free to contact us, or please read our petition and share it. Thank you.
Thank you.